no problem letting him walk. He's not a top 10 guard. He's not a top 15 guard. I'm not going to pay him as such if that's what he wants. Somebody might across the NFL. So let him go. Let him get paid. Let somebody else eat that on their salary cap. He's missed 4 games last year. He's already missed 3 games this year. He's not great in pass protection. I think you can go in the draft and get somebody second, third, fourth round and fill his shoes.
Sorsdahl looks like he could be a player.
Yes.
The decisions down the road, too, is like, it's the 2 guys we just talked about, McNeil and Jackson.
Yeah.
Which one do you pick? You know, it comes down to you can't keep them all, like Stoney said. You probably keep McNeil, right?
Yes. Because you can effectively get some good offensive linemen in the second, definitely in the second round. I know that.
All right, Chiefs. All pros, but not Hall of Fame.
Yes. Fifth round, too.
Michigan Hall.
Chiefs, Ravens, Dolphins, and Jags are all tied atop the AFC at 6-2. I think we all agree the Chiefs and Ravens can win anywhere in the playoffs. Between the warm weather Dolphins and Jags need home field to win the AFC.
I would say no for the Dolphins, but yes for the Jags, and it's simply because I think, I guess it's just more, I trust the offense of the Dolphins to be not what they are in warm weather, but still very effective and explosive, even if it's a little bit chilly.
I think you stole my homework. Anyway, I also have Miami no, Jags yes, and the reason for the Dolphins, they can run the freaking football.
Jags played pretty tough in Arrowhead last year. I don't know how good the Jags are. Like this,
Right.
They're like the Lions. Get that high-graded quarterback. It's amazing how quick you turn around.
It's just amazing. Real quick for the Dolphins, getting Jalen Ramsey back, being able to play defense, that's another equation in this.
All right, Brock Purdy's been a bit exposed the last 3 weeks, and the 49ers have a Brock Purdy problem. Can they win the AFC, win the Super Bowl with him?
Well, they can't win the NFC with them. I don't think they have a problem. I think it's a few games. Because Shanahan's so smart. Once they get Debo back, they can make this offense Purdy-proof, if you want to use that phrase. So, yes, if he is completely healthy, I think they can still win.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a Brock Purdy problem. I think they can win the Super Bowl. That's more of a health of Debo Samuel problem.
All right, and that is the Wide 9 for the 1st of November, 2023. Stokey Jansen, 97.1.
97.1, the ticket. Traffic.
From the WWJ 24-hour traffic center, we actually have a lot going on the roadways right now, but the good news, 96 eastbound just before Wilford Road, that gas leak has cleared, so all lanes are now back open. It just cleared though, so traffic is still probably moving a bit slow in the area. 94 westbound at E-Course Road, we have a crash with only the right lane open. 94 westbound after Ann Arbor Road, we have a crash blocking the right lane and right shoulder. And on the Schoolcraft Service Drive, just before Newburgh Road, we have an 18-wheeler trying to make a U-turn, and of course got stuck, so that's blocking the left lane. I'm Tina with traffic.
Text the ticket now. Ticket text 248-539-9797.
Get ready to start the NFL week off right, because right now all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay for Thursday night football. Just place a 3-leg same-game parlay on this week's game between the Titans and Steelers, and you'll get bonus bets back if you don't win. NFL same-game parlays are a perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. Visit FanDuel.com/Doug so you don't miss out on your chance to get a no-sweat same-game parlay on America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Michigan. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Maximum refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problems, call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help.
This Odyssey Sports Minute is sponsored by Mother Waddles.
This is Homer Esiason with an Odyssey Sports Minute, sponsored by Empower Personal Wealth. Start taking control of your financial future at Empower.com. My favorite trade deadline deals. San Francisco added Washington's defenseman Chase Young. They'll form a lethal pass rush duo with Nick Bosa. Detroit bolstered its receiving core with Cleveland's Donovan Peoples-Jones. And Minnesota found a stopgap solution at quarterback in Arizona's Joshua Dobbs. I'm Homer Esiason.
If you're like Like most people, you've had your fair share of financial questions. Questions like, can I afford my son's travel hockey team? What if my daughter doesn't get that soccer scholarship? Will I be able to enjoy golf in retirement? At Empower, we know these questions can be stressful. We're here to help answer your what ifs and empower what's next. Join 18 million Americans and take control of your financial future. Start today at empower.com. Sponsored by Empower Personal Wealth.
Hey, did you know Visprint prints everything a small business needs? Like if a barbershop needs signage, we print outdoor signs, posters, and banners. Or if a ballet school needs merch, we print tote bags, t-shirts, hoodies, hats. Or if a coffee shop needs a total refresh, Visprint designs logos and prints it on menus, mugs, paper bags, anything. Because with Visprint, the printabilities are endless. Print it all with 25% off for new customers with code NEW25 at Visprint.com.
Say Santa, a 60th birthday celebration for Maynard James Keenan. Featuring Primus, Pussifer, and A Perfect Circle. All three bands on stage together. May 2nd, Pine Knob Music Theater. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Don't miss Say Santa featuring Primus, Pussifer, and A Perfect Circle.
My little brother's friends have been camped out at our place for 2 days straight. 3. It's because of the Xfinity 10G network. Internet that can handle a house full of screens at once, with basically no interruptions. And it's only getting faster. When I was their age, internet like this was a pipe dream. You sound like my grandpa. Please go home.
The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Now through November 15th, new customers can get 75 megabit internet on the next generation Xfinity 10G network for just $20 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Go to xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless plan and auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service. Actual speeds vary.
Hi, Discover. It's Jennifer Coolidge. And I just want to thank you for the cash back on my groceries.
No problem. Discover Cashback Debit gives everyone cash back. Anything else I can help with?
Do you like asparagus sorbet?
Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank. Member FDIC.
Whether it's cards, shoes, comics, or jerseys, if you can collect it, Kang will talk about it on the Kang Collects podcast. Download on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. 97.1 The Ticket would like to remind you that when you text the ticket, standard text messaging rates apply. Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio, here's Stoney and Jansen.
248-539-9797. Well, yesterday was the trade deadline. And the Lions did make a trade. One that, okay, it's not the one everybody wanted. That's for damn sure. They added some depth in the wide receiving room by getting former Cass Tech and Michigan star Donovan Peoples-Jones from the Cleveland Browns for 2025 sixth-round pick.
Yep.
So there's no problem with that. I mean, I know Brad Holmes has gotten maybe better players for sixth-round picks, but the team definitely does need some wide receiver depth. I don't know if it's just a replace Marv deal or, J-Mo dropping another pass. They want to put a little heat on him. Maybe they think Jones might be even better than J-Mo. We will see. You have any problem with what they did?
No, I mean, they didn't really give up a whole lot for DPJ.
Right.
And, I mean, one of the things that we talked about yesterday, the big concern, I can't remember if we talked about it here or TJ and I did on the podcast, is the red zone efficiency.
Right.
And I think he can be effective in the red zone. He's a big target. Now, I'm going to have to get over some of my past experience.
Oh, like dropping the pass from Shea Patterson in the end zone near the end of the first half against Ohio State?
Yes, that's the one that always comes to mind. And so, that's a big problem. But I think he does add depth to that position. And, I mean, he hasn't been the same receiver this year, but they also haven't been the same offense this year in Cleveland.
Right.
He had 61 catches, over 800 yards last year. So he can be a guy that's going to add a lot to this offense.
As far as the other situation, everybody, fans, media, whoever, believed that what the Lions needed the most was depth or another really good player for the defensive line, particularly on the edge.
A pass rusher.
Yes. Brian Burns, we mentioned a few weeks ago, we knew that was a pipe dream. With the whole Max Crosby thing,
Yeah, it was a pipe dream. Wasn't going to happen. Along with that one because it was fun.
But we thought that Montez Sweat was a realistic possibility. Possibly Daniil Hunter. We knew Chase Young was going to be probably dealt as well. As the day progressed, Montez Sweat was traded, but in this division, but to the Chicago Bears, which leads me to think they have tons of salary cap, so you think they're going to, I don't know, re-sign him?
Sure.
But why, if you're the Bears, if he becomes a free agent and you have all this cap room, you could probably, if it's a money thing, sign him next year as a free agent. And why are you giving up a second-round pick, especially one that's good, because your team is so bad, is going to be a really good one?
The only thing I could think of is that they want to start those negotiations now. And they want him to be a part of the future. They don't want to wait till free agency. They want to have the inside route of we can have those negotiations with his agent as this season's going on. It's not going to be a distraction because they suck. And so it's right now, that's the advantage that they have. Now, they did give up a second, which, you know, if he's coming, I thought coming here, I'd be willing to give up a second because he adds so much. Right. And it's a proven commodity.
And the Lions' second will probably be late in the second round.
Yeah. But I didn't like it, obviously, that he went in division. I don't know that it makes that big of a difference right now for Chicago. I just thought that, you know, it was an opportunity to improve the pass rush. And then, I think probably the second guy on that defensive line, Chase Young, he goes out to San Francisco for a third-round pick. I wasn't real excited about Chase Young just because he's not the same player after his knee injury that he was before. Now, he's playing well this year.
Yes.
But I just, that was one where I was like, yeah, you know what, if they can get him for not a hefty price, because they didn't pick up his fifth-year option, so he's going to be free at the end of this year,
right.
too.
So the 49ers got him for a third-round pick, which I would have given if I was the Lions, because the Lions have 2/3. And you're right, he is playing much better this year, so if he left, here's what bothers me. Look, I'm not going to throw a chair like Mike, which was very funny if you listen to it, because he got really pissed. And a lot of people were pissed. And the reason you're pissed is because the Lions, we believe, are close.
Yeah.
Especially the way the schedule falls out and all that stuff, of competing seriously for a #1 seed in this conference. And to add somebody like that, to me, it's worth giving up a third-round pick or even a late second-round pick for Montez Sweat. Now, they obviously didn't, Hunter was not moved. Now, yesterday, Dan Campbell had his press conference scheduled for 3 o'clock, which I thought was convenient considering the trade deadline was at 4. But all of a sudden, we're waiting, and Brad Holmes walks into the room and says, hot off the presses, we just made a trade. And he explained the Donovan Jones trade. He also explained, because everybody wanted to know, and I think it was Jennifer who asked about, getting a pass rush.
We look at every position. A lot of these names that you might see pop up, they look good in the media, and they are names, but that's often it's not reality. Those same names that you see pop up, when you start getting into conversations, it just doesn't work out for the best for us. Every team has a different plight. Every team's in a different place, different direction, different phase in their team building. But no, there's nothing that we leave unturned or ignored or anything. We look at every position, look at everything, and this is the best one for us.
I don't know. Look, Brad Holmes knows a hell of a lot more football than I do. It just seems to me, and they look at a lot of more video, film, whatever, than I do, where they see every play. We just see a lot of the highlights, or if we happen to be watching a Commanders game, per se, you see how much Sweat or Young can make an impact.
Well,
and I have no idea about the locker room and anything else.
I'll give you something else to think about.
All right, Chris Villar's update is now.
WXYT FM and WXYT HD1 Detroit. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Sports headlines all day, every day. From the Corwell Health Sports Desk, this is 97.1 The Ticket.
Brought to you by Mother Waddles. Another wild wrinkle in the Michigan sign-stealing story as Central Michigan coach Jim McElwain acknowledges they're looking into photos possibly depicting U of M analyst Connor Stallions scouting Michigan State while on the chip sideline wearing CMU gear.
We've obviously are aware of a picture floating around with the sign stealer guy. You know, our people are doing everything they can to get to the bottom of it. We're totally unaware of it. Certainly don't condone it in any way, shape, or form. His name was on none of the passes that were let out. Now we just keep tracing it back and try to figure it out.
Yeah, by the way, Central beat Northern Illinois 37-31 during Tuesday night action. The college playoff committee not considering the current investigation into Michigan when determining their official rankings. They did place the Wolverines at number 3 behind Ohio State and Georgia. Lions GM Brad Holmes says Donovan Peoples-Jones is a high-character guy and has had good production in the past. Detroit trading a 6th rounder for the Cleveland wide receiver at the deadline as their only move. The team mentioned that chemistry is paramount when deciding on possible deals. After starting the season on the injury list, the Red Wings have activated 21-year-old forward Carter Mazer and assigned him to the Grand Rapids Griffins. He had 6 points in 6 games with the Griffins in his debut last season. It was pitching optional in Arizona during Game 4 of the World Series. The Rangers won an 11-7 game on the road to stay perfect away from home in the playoffs. They lead 3-1. At the Ticket Update desk, I'm Chris Villar. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
Live from the Jamie Samuelson Studio, Stoney and Jansen on 97.1 The Ticket.
Thank you, Chris. I think fielding was optional also for Arizona last night. I think they went 5 errors or 5 on anything.
Yeah.
248-539-9797 is the telephone number. We'd love to hear from you about what you think of what the Lions did do with DPJ, but more important, what they didn't do and improve their pass rush. Now, before we get to a theory of John, I want you to hear from the head coach and his feelings on what they did and didn't do. I asked him about making a move when you're this close for competing for the number 1 seed in the NFC, and in fact, whether your philosophy changes a little bit.
I just have to go back to this. Everything had to be, it's the right person, it had to be the right pick, the right fit for us, and then it's got to be the right price, Stoney, you know, and that's really the best way to say it. You know, Brad, scoured a ton. I can't tell you the number of calls that he made, and just asking, you know, looking at players that I think there's some players that you may not even know about that could be perceived as very good players, and maybe the tape's not there. So there's all kinds of things there. But trust me, we did his work, and we're good with where we're at.
They're good. I believe, and I'm sure it's wrong, that they are somewhat surprised that they are in this position to be the number 1 seed in this conference, and they're going back to, they're staying with their philosophy rather than take a shot. And I'm not saying go all in like crazy, but go all in a little bit to take a chance on somebody that could really, really help this team.
I think we may be surprised that they're here competing for the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. I don't necessarily think the coaching staff or the front office is surprised. They may be ahead of schedule.
Right, that's what I mean.
But I don't think they're surprised. Yeah, I think they're ahead of schedule, but I don't think they're surprised. And when you think about, you know, Brad Holmes, he was a part of an organization that put all chips in. And that was the Rams.
Yeah.
And so it's not that you could say, well, maybe he's inexperienced because it's his first time being he's a new GM. New in regards to it's his first GM job. Now he's 3 years in. Maybe he's ahead of schedule. Maybe he wasn't ready. And it's one of the arguments you could have. I disagree with that. I think that there is a plan in place. And here's what I was going to tell you I want you to think about. And I'd love to know what our listeners think about this. 248-539-9797. You also heard in there right price. And the price, which we now know, would have been a second rounder for Montez Sweat or a third rounder for Chase Young.
Or a rental, possible.
That's where I'm going with this. A rental. Do you want to give up a second, knowing that you might not be able to re-sign them? And if some of those, so here's where I think in regards to Brad Holmes doing his homework, I'm sure he talked with the agents and said, all right, if we give up a second, I've got to know that Montez Sweat is going to be here for more than just the final 9 games of this season, regular season, and into the playoffs. What are the odds? What are you looking for in regards to a long-term contract? And I'm guessing that those numbers came back, and it wasn't something that Brad Holmes was going to say, yes, that's something we can work with. Not that those are going to be the terms, but it's something that we can work around to finally get to a long-term deal. One thing that we know about Chicago is that they're willing to overpay for defense. They went out and signed T.J. Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, linebackers that they paid top dollar for. They've gone out and they signed at the beginning of the year Yannick Ngakoue.
Right.
And I don't remember what the terms were for his contract. I don't think it was breaking the bank, but they're going to have to pony up big numbers.
They wouldn't pay for Roquan Smith, though, which is mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's beyond. But this also a team that traded for Chase Claypool last year.
Yeah, I know.
At the same time.
Like with a second-round pick.
Yeah, and he's no longer even there. Like, they just let him go. They didn't let him go. They traded him.
But John, I just don't think making this trade, even if it is for a rental, a late second or a third for Chase Young.
Not for a rental. No, I'm not willing to. If he had 2 years left on his deal, sure, fine. I'll give up a second for 2 years. But if I don't have some assurance that I can re-sign Montez Sweat or Chase Young, then I'm not going to give up that capital because I know, and we've seen them this year, Laporta, Branch, second rounders. Brad Holmes has beaten the second round, as some people would call jinx, in Detroit.
I know, I understand that, but you see, without the guarantee of re-signing those guys, what is a bigger guarantee? That, or less of a guarantee? That, or that they're going to be in this position again next year? That's the whole thing. They're so close. That's why I don't want them to go crazy and trade this first. A third round pick to me is not going nuts.
I thought this was an easy call. We talked a lot off there, John. I said fans are going to be disappointed because it's the temptation and flash names, especially Chase Young, who's an overrated football player. Okay, he is. He's never lived up to the second round pick in my mind, or second overall pick.
That's because he got hurt. He was defensive player of the rookie of the year, right?
If you think he's been hurt a lot, and he also, and they said it after the fact when he left yesterday, but he tries to make splash plays instead of being a disciplined system guy. Well, to me, that's a red flag on a Dan Campbell football team. I think the big thing here is big picture. If you look at it and you say they're ahead of schedule, why would you go away from what you're doing?
Because it's
why? You know what I'm saying?
To me, going away from what you're doing is trading multiple firsts for this player or that, or going completely crazy. To me, granted he's drafted well, a third round pick, or in Sweat's cases, a late second, is not going crazy. And you can have, I believe, 1 or 2 out of your 53 that might.
That was Carrie playing Wordle.
Completely culture fits. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with that, but if we go back to when Brad Holmes took the job and some other people that they brought in, John Dorsey, we played audio of him early on in this new regime of, hey, don't get distracted by the bright, shiny object. Those were his exact words, and I don't remember exactly what the quote was, and I wasn't going to try and pull it up, but this was an opportunity to go get a bright, shiny object, but you don't want to sacrifice down the road if you don't believe that you can re-sign Montez Sweat or Chase Young. I'm not willing to give up that draft capital for 9 games.
All right, let's go to the phones in a second. I got some texts I want to read first. I feel like Holmes was indeed the villain yesterday, reviving the biggest rivalry in Detroit the last 20 years. Lions fans versus their general manager. I'm not going to go that far. Like I said, I just think they could have I didn't think it was that much.
It's okay to disagree with
Yes.
them. We're going to disagree with them a lot.
Yes.
We did with the number 12 overall pick this year.
Right. John, how does a player feel being traded for a 6th-round pick? Is it an insult? Just wondering.
No, no, it's not an insult. He's probably excited because I think it's either 8 or 9 catches that he had this year.
Yeah.
He wants to go to an offense that's going to throw the ball around a little bit more. And I think DPJ is going to get more targets than he was getting in Cleveland.
Many Lions fans need to remember the Pistons of the 80s and 2000s and wings of the 90s. Championships were not built overnight. It was a process. They brought in pieces along the way. I was hoping they'd make a bigger move, but we don't know what other teams wanted from Detroit in return. Fans need to enjoy this journey. I get that. To me, it's not like F the picks or anything like that. To me, it's a 3rd-round pick. It's not that big of a deal even for a rental, in my opinion. Guys, Chase Young was a free trade. Give up a 3rd. If you don't sign him next year, you get back a 3rd compensatory pick. Free, and we didn't do it. And they might, if the defense keeps playing like they're doing, and Aaron Glenn leaves, they'll get another compensatory pick. Because when a minority goes to a job, you get a compensatory pick. So if they win the Super Bowl, their 2nd is what, 64th overall? What's the Bears' 2nd? Maybe 40th overall? Maybe they offered the 2nd. It's like, no, I'd rather have a 24th pick the other side. I understand that part, yes.
I think there's one player in this riddle that we need to let it play out, as John says. It's James Houston.
Yes.
They may think they've got a better pass rusher coming for the playoffs that is going to make them a better team than Chase Young would. And why would you, if you think that,
Correct.
Why would you give up capital?
That's a great point. 248-539-9797. Anthony Richmond, you're 97 on the ticket.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So I was just wondering, I love what Brad Holmes has been doing. Why didn't we go take a shot at getting Max Crosby, helping Hutchinson out a ton, giving up 2 first-round picks, let's say for the 2025 draft and the 2024 draft, and let's go win now with Hutchinson and Crosby being on the same field.
We know that they didn't, number 1, and number 2. Why would the Raiders make that trade?
I mean, getting 2 first overall picks for the Raiders, which they kind of need, and then getting us some help, I feel like that'd be huge.
Well, but again, you got to talk about position of the pick. If that pick is going to be 28 to 32,
right?
Then in the first round, that wouldn't make any sense for them.
Yeah, I mean, he's their best player.
Yeah, and you're going to have a new coach. Yes,
exactly. Maybe Anthony Pierce, who looks like he's going to take over. Antonio Pierce. I'm sorry. He probably says, you ain't getting rid of Max Crosby.
He's a defensive guy too.
Yes. You were going to say something. Right before I went.
What I said about the capital, if you think you already got the guy that's coming back for the playoffs.
Oh well, so the question is, 1, will he be back? And 2, if he is back, will he be healthy enough to be effective? And even if he is 100% effective or healthy, will he be effective? Like, we didn't see, it was brief,
right?
But we didn't see the same prowess that we saw through 7 games last year. Now, I wasn't expecting, more than a sack per game all season long from James Houston, but if that's what you believe you have, I get it. But you're running the gamble that, 1, he'll be back, and that he'll be back and effective.
248-539-9797. Your phone calls, your texts, 97.1 the tip.
The amount of big truck accidents that results in fatality or serious injury in Michigan is absolutely staggering. The attorney that you choose to help you must have the specialized knowledge and expertise to handle these complicated cases. Injury attorney David Feminino and his team have helped victims of truck accidents for over 25 years, and they stand ready to help you right now. If you've been injured by a big truck, all you got to do is call 855-65-CRASH or go to his website, getdavidgetpaid.com. That's 855-65-CRASH or go to his website, getdavidgetpaid.com.
97.1 The Ticket. Traffic.
From the WWJ 24-hour traffic center, brought to you by Quest Research Institute. 94 westbound at E-Course Road. We have a crash here where traffic is getting by on the right shoulder only. So if you're headed this way, plan for a delay. 94 westbound after Ann Arbor Road, we have a crash blocking the right lane and right shoulder. And on the Schoolcraft Service Drive just before Newburgh Road, we have an 18-wheeler that tried to make a U-turn and got stuck. That's blocking the left lane. Are you newly diagnosed with Parkinson's disease? Turn to Quest Research and their team of Parkinson's experts. Call to learn more and be a part of the cure at 888-QUEST-24. No insurance required. Don't delay. 888-QUEST-24. I'm Tina with traffic.
The Detroit Pistons play the Portland Trail Blazers. Free game tonight at 6:35 on 97.1 The Ticket.
When your furnace goes out, you need reliable service now.
Help?
Mastercraft Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical have you covered 24/7. Locally owned for 40 years, and they back their work with a 5-year warranty. Mastercraft is your one-stop shop for heat, AC, plumbing, and electrical. Plenty of generators in stock and on sale. If Mastercraft can't get to you for same-day service, take $100 off your next-day service call. Visit mastercraftheating.com. mastercraftheating.com.
All right, FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150. Look, Rico hates betting spreads. Oh, who plays the fight song? Well, here you go, Mr. Fight Song. You bet the money line.
For on Valentina's crew.
Player props, over-unders. They got it all. They got more betting markets than anybody. It's FanDuel.com/ticket. Kick off the NFL season with FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. New customer, $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. Must be 21 and up, present. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable. Bonus bets expire 7 days after. See term. Sportsbook. FanDuel.com. Gambling problem. 707-117.
24 Seconds Bar and Grill in Berkeley. The best place for great food, great atmosphere, great specials, NFL Sunday Ticket, and the World Series. For Pistons and Red Wings games, $4 bottles of blue and blue lights. And book your holiday party there now, too. Head on down to 24 Seconds. Grab a taste of the action.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurring or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa?
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
With Black Friday appliance savings all month long at the Home Depot, we're making the holidays merrier by making holiday hosting easier with our lowest prices of the year on Whirlpool kitchen appliances. Get everything you need to store all your holiday favorites
Dinner's ready.
and the leftovers. With top brand kitchen appliances at a great value. Save up to $2,300 on select kitchen packages, including top brands like Whirlpool, with Black Friday savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Planet Fitness has done wonders for me and can do wonders for you. Help me lose a lot of weight, help me get into a better mental state. That's right. Right now, they have an amazing deal for you at Planet Fitness. Just $1 down and $10 no commitment. That's right, $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment. That deal ends November the 6th. You get access to the judgment-free zone, like I said, for just $1 down. There are over 50 locations, Planet Fitness, here in Detroit, and they have some new stuff too. The all-new cardio in Utica, Dearborn, on Ford Road, Taylor on Telegraph Road, Belleville, Oak Park, Southfield, and Royal Oak. We got new strength equipment at Woodhaven, Livonia 5-mile location, Commerce, Shelby Township on 23-mile road. Now open on Highland Road in Hartland. We got new cryo loungers are available at Woodhaven, Belleville, and some of our other locations. They got Black Card Spa locker rooms and lobby now open in Ann Arbor. Planet Fitness, lose weight, get in shape, you feel great. It's a judgment-free zone.
The Detroit Red Wings host the Florida Panthers. Pregame tomorrow at 6:45 on 97.1 The Ticket. Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio, here's Stoney and Jansen.
248-539-9797. Let's go to Jim in Grosse Pointe, who wants to weigh in on the trade deadline. What's up, Jim?
Valentina's crew.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
Good. Hey, you brought up some great points, especially perspectives and draft picks and performance and that. A couple of things to consider here. And I really do think it's important to understand where the Lions felt they might be or how they're building this in the stretch, meaning they want to build, dynasty is a big word, but they want to build something that's going to be effective for a long time. And we all bought in. We're like, okay, that's great. You're doing the right things. Hey, this draft pick worked out, that draft pick worked out. And then we started becoming accelerated in our performance, maybe better than we anticipated. So the Lions are still on their original plan, and we're running a sprint. They're running a marathon. They're looking at this long-term solution. What happened, though, and this is the funny thing, is that they see us as having these young players that can take this the long haul. We've got this mentality now as a fan that all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got to win now, as if we've got some aging veterans and we have this very small window. It's hard to relegate the two because we haven't been here and we're excited about it.
I completely understand that. That's why, to me, like a third round pick is not that much for even a rental. If it's gonna, sometimes you call audibles in this sport, and so you call a little bit of an audible. Like I said, you're not throwing everything. You're not disavowing your whole plan.
No, and I'm not going to argue the fact that you're going to get more production out of Chase Young this year than you will out of a third rounder next year.
Correct.
But long term, if you're not spending as much for a third rounder next year, and you're going to have to pay, I had that list yesterday in regards to Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penix, like there's a lot of guys that contracts are going to be up, and you can't always be paying top dollar for everyone.
Ticket text, 2 points, guys. The Bears offer for the second round pick for Sweat, which means it's like a first round pick, and everyone talks about trading for a rental. In the NFL, if they leave, you get a third round conditional pick. So you traded for Young, you move back 15 spots. Yeah, I do that. Well, 15. You're right. It is 15 spots. Our second round pick is going to be much different than the Bears' second. Oh, I agree. So maybe if they offered their second, and Chicago offered their second, and Washington said, we're going to take the Bears because they're better pick. Completely understand.
Get that, yeah.
Now, you go throwing a fifth or something. Maybe that wouldn't have been enough either. I don't know. Let's go to Eric in Novi. Good morning.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller. Go Blue, John. I'm a 95 grad.
Go Blue.
Appreciate it.
Hey, all right. My take on this is, remember what happened with Houston last year, how he came on like the last 8 games?
Create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. Call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Changer.
No, but that's okay.
But I get your hope that Robert Martin.
You know what? Just leave it be.
Impact in the final.
Yeah, just leave it alone for now.
Because that's what we're comparing to James Houston. I just don't think you're not always going to get that lightning in a bottle.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 248-539-9797. As much as it pains me to say it, I agree with John. I think wasting capital on a rental is foolish when you can potentially get a far better player that will last longer. Chris and Flint, they are building
to say that.
They are building for a 3 to 5 year contender rather than a slightly better chance at first in the NFC. Everyone is blinded by the fact that we are close and have been yearning for it for so long. Yes, I agree. Call me guilty. There's no guarantee that you might be in this position again. I mean, is your division, now they probably won't be this bad next year, but I don't think it's going to be good, so they should be the favorites to win the division next year, but who knows?
Well, you never know what can happen. I mean, if Jared Goff steps wrong, like we've seen for Aaron Rodgers, like we saw for Kirk Cousins, now all of a sudden you're trying to figure out what you're doing, with the quarterback position, and you're not going to get the same production out of Teddy Bridgewater over 17 games that you're going to get from Jared Goff. I get the risk of you may not be in this position next year,
right?
But you can't always operate under the auspice of we're never going to be here again.
John in White Lake, you're 97 on the ticket.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I got kind of a two-part question. I don't know if anybody's been talking about this, but I agree with you, Stoney, that the time is now. Yes, you have a philosophy that you can kind of live by, and hopefully you'll be there next year and the year after in your building. What if Ben Johnson leaves? Has anybody mentioned that? He's been rumored to possibly go, and Goff's going to have to rebuild the chemistry. There's no guarantee he'll be around. Aaron Glenn might leave. I don't know. He's not as important as Ben Johnson right now, but I think all the other teams that are in the hunt are making moves. And they've been there maybe a little closer than we are, but they're still making somewhat of a move. Seattle, I think, is very close with us, and they're making moves. So I agree with you, and give me your thoughts on Ben Johnson. I mean, that could throw a whole wrench into the next 2 years.
Well, they could lose both coordinators like Philadelphia did this year. And
if you lose Ben Johnson, the argument or what we'll find out is how much of this offense is Ben Johnson and his rhythm of play calling and his relationship with Jared Goff versus how much of this offense is Dan Campbell's.
Correct.
And, how much influence does he have on game day in regards to the parameters that Ben Johnson is working around?
All right, coming up after Heather's news, which is in a second, we will tell you how you can win some Metallica tickets. But right now, here's Heather.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Jennifer Crumbley may be turning on her husband. Yes, according to the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office, Jennifer blames her husband, James, for their son's school shooting. At least they say according to jail communications. Now, the defense, however, blames the prosecution on trying to make it look like the Crumbleys aren't on the same page before they head to trial, which starts on January 23rd. And apparently, the prosecution has long been concerned about the Crumbleys' defense strategy, warning that, that they mounted this joint defense, which they believe could create this conflict of interest. And over the past week, there's been several emails between both sides. The court records show that the prosecution raised the issue again, with the defense lawyers maintaining that there's some new reasons to believe there is a conflict of interest, and it remains unaddressed. So there's a lot going on, but that's what they say. They're not giving examples what was said, but apparently.
And 7 Mile, the one we'll do last.
We'll see what happens there.
Got it.
State prosecutors admitted defeat on Tuesday in their effort to prosecute public officials over harm caused by the Flint water crisis. So that means no additional public officials will be held criminally responsible. Attorney General Dana Nessel's office announced that it is ending its quest to prosecute public officials for their role in the crisis after the Michigan Supreme Court shot down efforts to charge former Governor Rick Snyder. They did release a statement, and the prosecution team said that the court has basically left them with no other option but to consider the cases closed. There's an inmate who is serving a life sentence at a prison up in the UP who is now suing after he says his porn was intercepted by guards. Yes. So this guy, John Alexander, is seeking $60,000 from the Michigan Department of Corrections after he says that his First Amendment rights were violated when prison guards prevented him from receiving these adult entertainment magazines that were sent to him. Apparently his buddy thought that it would be a nice gesture for his birthday to send him an issue of this adult magazine, which apparently specializes in prison entertainment. I don't know there. Anyway, so like I said, this guy is serving this life sentence for second-degree fleeing from a police officer in Wayne County, and now he is hoping to turn his suit into a class action case and is recruiting some fellow inmates to join him as well, because apparently this isn't the first time this has happened.
Without knowing the details, the inmate, I think, has a good case. I mean, unless there's rules.
You think they have? How many rights do you think they deserve?
I don't know what the. I don't know what
you think they deserve the right to have?
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. If the rules don't specify, yeah, why not?
Apparently, there are some rules, and one can
What's he serving a life sentence for?
It said second-degree fleeing from a police officer in Wayne County. I'm sure there's more to that, but there are some rules about what can be depicted in these adult entertainment, and they say anything close to depicting sexual violence could be a security issue, and perhaps that is why this prison porn was taken away. To me, I'm kind of leaning with John's idea of like, well,
I know it pains you. It pains everybody to agree with me with that.
Does he really need to have porn while he's in prison serving a life sentence?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They have cigarettes sometimes.
Well, hold on. What he needs is not the issue here. What he is entitled to his rights are.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? Yeah.
Right. I guess so. Yes. A police investigation is underway after members of the Colorado football team reported that they were missing jewelry following the team's loss to UCLA on Saturday. So the team did report the theft to police, explaining that several items went missing from their locker room during the game. Now, the exact type of jewelry or the amount of jewelry or who it belonged to hasn't been specified, but there was a video that was posted to social media that showed several players kind of discussing the incident, things that were taken from the locker room, and police are investigating the theft. And Deion Sanders has kind of went on the record saying that he wants the players to be reimbursed. So he did this news conference on Tuesday, and he said that, you know, he made it clear that he thinks that if the players had items stolen, they should get those items back or the value. He also explained that